What are you watching?
We're back to the Comedy Store tonight, starring Artis Hamilton, and it is a real pleasure to introduce to you our very first guest. He just returned from the Comedy Store La Jolla.
I was there last
He's
week,
just been killing them left and right. You've seen him on his, you have a special called Shallow End.
Shallow End is my
But
special, yeah.
this guy launched a very special alum of ours, Chelsea Handler, started off her show from here and launched from here. We love Chelsea. You were right with Chelsea from the very start. Chelsea
I was
Handler.
the
Give it
head
up for
writer on
Chris
Chelsea
Franjola.
lately. Yes, all righty.
Yeah, buddy.
Very
Chris,
exciting.
What was it? When did the Chelsea lately start?
2008?
2008. Wow.
Yeah, went for 8 years, almost 8 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic.
So a couple of years ago.
So you started out as a writer, and you would do some bits. You did a gay caveman thing.
I did the Gay Caveman. Was one of my more.
Do the gay caveman for everybody.
Yeah, weirdly enough, the Gay Caveman was the. We read an article about an archaeological dig that found a skeletal remains that was a male skeleton, but dressed in earrings and all sorts of stuff. So I said, "Oh, it's the first gay person."
Yeah.
So from that was born the Gay Caveman, and he would just comment on like gay stories throughout the, whenever there was a gay story in the news, the Gay Caveman would be the correspondent.
And how would the gay caveman cover the Pride Parade here in West Hollywood?
It's funny. The Gay Caveman actually went. I don't know if you remember when they opened the Chick-fil-A not far
Oh,
from here.
my!
And it was, Chick-fil-A had an issue with the LGBT or whatever. So I went and protested out front in my Gay Caveman outfit, and I was arrested in my Gay
In Los
Caveman-
Angeles?
In Los Angeles, yes.
I didn't know anything was against the law in this town.
Yeah. I guess a $25 caveman outfit was against the law. Noon on a. So I was, So that was, Gay Caveman was one of my more popular characters.
Yeah. Oh, what was it like working with Chelsea all that time?
It was great. We had a blast. That show, we never thought it was going to be as popular as it was. So every time we got more and more popular. It was exciting for all of us because we were all kind of relatively new to, that world. And so it was fun. It was a good time.
So
we couldn't do it today. It wasn't even that long ago, and I don't think I could do Gay Caveman today.
That's right, because she's a free speaking, and
some
you've
of the
got to
things
watch
we
everything
did,
now.
Yeah. We had, I don't know if you know Heather McDonald. She played like a trans character on our show, which basically had like a giant, like cock in her like bathing suit, and that's
sort of a suppository.
She had a bikini on and like a big cock. So that's something. You couldn't do that. I don't think you can do that anymore. Yeah.
That side of La Brea, anyway.
Yeah. Exactly.
So you're working with Heather McDonald now? What's that?
I do. Yeah, I work on she has a podcast called Juicy Scoop, and I'm kind of like her co-host on that.
Yeah.
It's a fun time. Yeah.
And what's the name of the podcast?
Juicy Scoop. It's
Juicy
about,
Scoop.
Gossipy stuff. Yeah.
Well, so I want our listeners to see it, because.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's good. It's a good time.
So tell me what the Comedy Store La Jolla was like over the weekend.
It's amazing. You know it.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it from. I didn't know.
It's just the best. It's it's one of the best clubs around. It's small and intimate, and great crowds all the time. Weekend in La Jolla is one of the good ones. I tour a lot, so. And I see La Jolla on my
I'm
schedule.
interested when you guys like you that headline all over the country.
Yeah.
Guys like me, baby boomers, like I may be one of the last ones left, but in the late 70s and early 80s, when comics would record albums, they would always go to the Comedy Store La Jolla because it was a 250-seater, high ceiling, brick walls, and the laughter just ricocheted all over the place. And that's where they would record. And I'm always interested if there's any comparable clubs out there now as good as La Jolla.
Just the older ones, probably, the Chicago, Zanies in Chicago's probably, Nashville Zanies, Comedy Works in Denver, and then there's, the rest of them are shit. There's like 5 good ones and 7,000 bad ones. So,
Well, what are you talking about up there on stage now?
I do some stuff, I don't like your monologue. Right up front, I do a few things that are in the news.
Yeah.
But nothing too political, because I don't know if you go out into the world, the moment you mention Donald Trump, you're just splitting that room immediately. And I find the laugh, it's not enough the laugh for me to just kill the vibe of the room. I love your stuff and like people who do it, but out on the road, it doesn't work for me.
Well, what I've found is if I can do this right, because I lost a lot of newspapers 15 years ago on my daily column doing harsh, polemic George W. Bush jokes.
Okay? Right.
Because I was a big opponent of going into Iraq, so I let him know on the jokes, and all these conservative newspapers I lost,
Yeah.
But since then, on stage, I've learned that if I can tell a joke about Trump that Trump would laugh at, everybody feels that and laughs along.
Trump laughs? I've never seen him laugh at it. I wish he was a little more. If he was a little more self-effacing, it would be nice.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's like that at all.
The people who know him say that's a very careful persona he has in public, and that he is a regular guy.
I'm sure. I know him growing up in New York. I knew Trump as for years he was like this playboy buffoon in the New York Post that you'd read about him being out at clubs and stuff, you know. And so he's nothing new to me, being born and raised in New York. I knew the guy.
Well, in 1988, this is interesting, at the Republican convention, they had just nominated Dan Quayle to be Bush's vice president.
Back in the day when putting an E on the end of potato would ruin your political career.
Isn't that funny?
Yes. Now you can grab him by the pussy and it doesn't affect anything. It's amazing to me how quickly that changed.
Yeah, all it took was everybody having that smartphone and everybody having free speech, and suddenly everything was fair game.
That was it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no censors anymore.
No.
It's only your only sense of good taste. But at that '88 convention, Connie Chung at NBC News had a lot of dead air time. And so she brought Trump over, because I guess it was in New York, and Trump sat down with her and held court for 20 minutes.
Right.
Okay? And he was good. I mean, he really was. And they went on to the convention, and the next day, Trump got a letter from New Jersey, from Richard Nixon, saying, "Son, if you ever want to be president, you've got what it takes."
Oh, yeah. Take it from Nixon.
And here it is. Yeah. Here it is. The Democrats all set to nominate McGovern to go against him again.
Wow, that's amazing. I'll say this: whether you like him or not, he is good. He's good at stuff like that. He's good at TV. Yeah. He was good in those, in those Republican debates. He was
Think
good.
about it. We've been electing presidents for their entertainment value since '92.
You're right.
Bill Clinton, hey, entertainment, man.
Right.
George W. Bush, who will he attack next?
Even before that, Nixon sweat or whatever on, against Kennedy, and that was the end of it. He showed some.
Because Jack Kennedy was smooth, man.
Right. So, it's always been an entertainment value, more so than ever.
Who is your favorite president growing up?
I grew up in an era of. Jimmy Carter was the first one I really remember being the president. I was old enough to oh, this guy's, I guess sucks.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know that.
It was a 4-year government. It was a 4-year government shutdown.
Yeah, right. I remember long lines for gas and stuff where I was from. You'd have to wait for gas, and so it didn't seem great. And then when I grew up in a union family, so they leaned very Democratic.
Yeah.
So then when Reagan came in, my family wasn't into it, but to me it seemed interesting that an actor, who I knew from movies was now the president. So I would say Reagan, but I didn't know anything about policy or anything back then. I just thought he had good hair.
It was Reagan versus Carter. That was our choice back then.
That's right.
A movie star or a farmer.
Right.
A peanuts or popcorn. So tell me, what else you talk about on stage? You're a funny man.
Well, we. I don't know if you've heard. You talking about I think there's no bigger news story currently than the helium. We're running out of helium. Have you heard that? That's craziness.
Yeah.
And I read that helium doesn't. Once it's gone, it's gone. That's it. You're done. So people are not taking this seriously enough. Wait in 20 years from now when you go into your next party and all the balloons are lying on the fucking ground. That's not going to be fun. No more floating balloons. No more fun high voices you used to be able to do. Those days are over. So I think it's a bigger story than we're giving it. We need to give more to it. The fact that helium is going away.
Yep.
I've read I'm freaking out about the helium shortage. And I haven't been to a party in 20 years. But,
where did you develop as a comedian?
Here, kind of.
Yeah.
In LA, bar shows and stuff. But mostly, I'm from New York. But mostly, I came up, in this town.
Yeah.
I knew, I used to come watch you. Like when I first came to LA, I'd come here like every night, not to perform, just to watch.
Yeah, just
and
like
you were like
your college.
You know, you were the guy.
Yeah.
And that was when Dice was here and Kinnison and those guys. Like same show, Dice, Kinnison, everybody.
Yeah, and Roseanne.
Roseanne, yeah.
Jim Carrey.
I remember a guy named, I don't know if he's still even around. His name was Finis Henderson. Finis Henderson. This guy would blow the roof off the place.
Finis Henderson, his father was a great black impresario in show business and best friends with Sammy Davis Jr.
Oh, okay.
And Sammy sort of half adopted Finis, and Finis was raised up in that. And Finis and Harry Basel would be our two big headliners at the Comedy Store Dunes Hotel, 84 to 92.
Oh, okay.
And he was a tremendous singing act. And everybody went roaring crazy. He still does the huge Morongo Casino stuff.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, he does here. And he just hadn't been here in so long. And I swear to God, 3 weeks ago tonight on this show, there was a guy saying, Argus, can you get me in? I looked up, it's Finis. The doorman didn't know Finis Henderson. They weren't letting him in the comedy store.
I mentioned his name to people, nobody. But I never saw a reaction to a comedian like that guy when he would go up here in the big room.
Yeah.
I mean, it was unbelievable.
May I sing for you?
Yeah, it was crazy. Finis Henderson.
Finis Henderson, yes. And he's doing great. He's,
good. Good. That's good to hear.
But what's your next project?
I'm doing some work on that. David Spade's got a show coming on Comedy Central. I'm doing some stuff over there. And then I have a podcast called Cover to Cover where I basically kind of talk about the news, real, stupid news stuff. And then, and then I'm on the road a ton, Be in Salt Lake City at Wise Guys. Ever been there? That's a good one.
Wait a minute, Wise Guys in Salt Lake City?
Wise Guys in Salt Lake City,
That doesn't sound like too hip a place.
No, they have a few of them. But it's a good club. It's one of the better ones. And I'll be there.
Do they serve caffeine there?
Yeah, the whole crowd's wearing like short sleeve white shirts and black ties. They all leave on bicycles.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do your Hillary material there.
Right, exactly, yeah. Gotcha. Or my Mitt Romney material.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Gosh. So anyway, man, I'm glad you had a great time at La Jolla.
La Jolla's the best, yeah. It's always fun down there. Yeah, it's a beautiful little town and get to,
So you married, got family?
I'm recently married, about a year ago.
What's that like?
It's good.
Yeah?
I like it. I never thought I'd be married. I got married late in life, and I love it.
Yeah.
I was one of those...
Have you gotten any material out of it you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had something. Our wedding sucked, but other than that, everything was great. Our wedding we did like in this old place downtown. It was like an old Italian villa. And it looked wonderful until we got married on like the hottest day of the year in August, and this place, the air conditioning just didn't work anymore.
Oh.
And it was rough. But whatever, the pictures came out fine, I guess. That was only $40,000. Who cares? Yeah. Right. What a wonderful day. Yeah. So that was.
So you're Italian?
Half.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mother's Irish. My father's Italian. Yeah. So from Long Island, that's the thing. Italian, Irish, electrician. My father, my mother's a nurse. Still going. They've been married 59 years. Still living back in the house I grew up in. Yeah. I went and stayed with them when I was back in New York a few weeks ago, which was a bad idea. My parents get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. They're up like roosters. They're in the kitchen talking real loud, about how they're going to prepare their bread that day. That's a big day. Like maybe they'll toast it. Maybe they won't. That's a big day for me. And everything's real loud. And then I drive around with them. It was fun for about 5 minutes. So they're good. Yeah, that's where I'm from, Long Island.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Oklahoma.
Oh, Oklahoma.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was born in Poto, which is a border town.
Okay.
But my mother was shopping maternity clothes for me in Fort Smith, Arkansas, when she started having labor pains with me.
Really?
And Daddy drove me 80 miles an hour across the border so I would not be born in Arkansas. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Like Oklahoma's an upgrade.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, our meth is a little less cut than New Yorkie's.
You used to have a great joke years ago. I still remember it, where you said something about picking up the country in like shaking it, and everybody who was loose and would fall to California.
Oh, yeah. America's tilted on a 40-degree angle toward the west.
Yes,
and everything loose rolls to California.
Yes, that was one. That was one that
it was funnier back then.
Back when people in California were loose. And right.
Yeah,
but I remember
it is not loose now, is it?
No, not as much as it used to be, at least.
No. The late 70s is when I think this town was at its best. It really was.
Oh, I wasn't here quite then, but yeah, everything was better in the late 70s.
It was. I'm telling you, there was this brief period between Nixon and Reagan, and it just seemed like, thank God for Blazing Saddles and for Richard Pryor and his mentor Paul Mooney. They were all disciples of Dick Gregory, and they were all on the Sunset Strip, and everybody's getting along. Everybody's grooving, having a wonderful time, talking until noon the next day every night. And it just seemed like a fantastic time. And then suddenly,
and then further up, you had the Eagles, and like up there at the music places.
It was all harmony and stuff. And then suddenly, just like Reagan got elected, and everybody's got to get a job and separate. Everybody had to get serious about their career. And even comedy turned corporate and less bohemian the moment 1981.
You think that's when it was? Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree. That is true.
The whole country turned corporate.
And movie, like, God, you look at the Best Picture nominees in 1977, it's unbelievable. Like, it's, Rocky and, I don't know, it was Jaws, and Star Wars. Now, I mean, movies are just, you can't release anything without having Iron Man in it, and that sucks for me. I'm like a movie fanatic, and I used to love watching, like.
So now that leaves you what, with HBO and Showtime for the real
I guess, hopefully, but they don't release, like, adult drama anymore in the theaters. I can forget about it. I mean, a couple of years ago, they released Rain Man in the summertime. I was like, and it was a hit. About an autistic guy, and you couldn't do that now unless you put that autistic guy in a fucking bat suit. It's the only way you could do it. Yeah.
I'm pretty much left with challenging my sobriety every 2 years by watching The Wire all the way through.
Oh yeah. That's like one of those shows.
It's like a family reunion for me by now.
That's one of those shows that I still have not watched.
Oh man.
I know, it's so like that and Breaking Bad, the two that I haven't watched.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I know. So I got some catching up to do on both of those.
Well, give Chris a big round of applause. You were fantastic.
Thank you for having me, August.
Chris,
pleasure to meet you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
We're going to stand for a picture right now.
Okay, sounds good.